Hello, everybody. This is Anna, PCH.
Hi, it's Carol.
Hi, Carol. I have a couple other people in here. You guys want to say hi?
Hey, Antoinette. Hi.
Hey, it's Dan.
So, I'm gonna, is everybody on here? Are we waiting for anybody else? Banner. Oh, she can't make it. Banner can't make it. And then, is anybody from the Mayo on? I don't think so. I'm trying to find my camera. Where is it? All right. Should we just go ahead and get started? Can everybody hear? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose for this meeting was to go over a timeline and then also kind of review what we need to have already in place. And then we wanted to also address any concerns that had come up from the last meeting. And in that teamwork discussion, we talked about a couple things that people wanted to add to the checklist as far as the criminal history, and then also a consent. So what I said for the consent was that like we weren't asking the resident to consent previously. So I don't know if that would change the process. You guys agree? Don't agree? What do you think?
This is Zoe. Sorry, we're having speakerphone issues. So my concern there was that we've always had the residents sign off on the URAs before we submit them to other institutions, and that was sort of our way of knowing that they realized that this information was being sent. So it's not a true change in process. It's just, I guess, our interpretation of it might have been different. But there was always a resident signature on the Rotator app.
So that would, and this is Antoinette. Our concern, well, it's not really a concern. I think if your institution decides to continue that process, and then by all means, that would be an institutional thing. But on a corporate level, for all of the other institutions involved, I think it would just be, it's up to them if they want to continue to include it. But on our end, we probably will not do that, just because ideally our residents already know that we're scheduling and sending information on their behalf. So.
Okay, well, that's something we can run by our legal team. It's just there was a concern raised about that, and especially with the API, considering that our incoming residents aren't here yet, we didn't ask them for consent on that, and so there was a question from our legal team. So we can get clarification on that from our end, but we would not be comfortable allowing other institutions to use the API to pull our data until we get that clarification from legal.
Right, and even with the URA, the current URAs, we've received several. I mean, the majority of the time, there's not a resident signature. There's probably not even a PD signature. The only PD signature is normally on the grids that we receive, because most of the time the coordinator is just sending them, most of the time incomplete, especially at the beginning of the year. So there's no signatures involved at that point on our end, from our receiving end, that we have been able to see on a consistent basis that this is like the rule of thumb, that the rotator, that the resident gives consent in that way. But I mean, like I said, it could be an institutional thing, but in our efforts to streamline the process across the board, I think that we should probably just leave that up to each individual institution if they want to include that step.
I hear what you're saying about leaving it up to each institution, though, but I think my point is that it's going to impact the pilot and the timeline of the pilot, because we have to get legal to confirm that we don't need to get that permission before we have our DIO and go into ERAS and give permission to other institutions to transfer our data.
But see, that would be just for the interns. What about the rest of the PGY classes?
Well, they're not in ERAS anymore, so we wouldn't be able to do the API in that way anyway. We'd have to do manual entry.
Well, I'm just speaking, which is the same thing, which is the whole consent part. Like, they're still not signing off on anything at that point if they're not an intern or using the API.
Yeah, I get that. We would still want their consent. If legal says that we have to have consent from the residents before we transfer their data, then we would get that consent in one way or the other. I'm just concerned about how it's going to impact the pilot and the API for the incoming, because those are the only ones who are affected by that piece of it.
Right. That's what I'm saying is you wouldn't participate. You said it would affect the process for the pilot. Right, the interns would affect the process. If you just decide not to use that intern class in the initiation of the pilot, you can just not use them. You can use your other PGYs for the pilot. Because technically,
which is fine, then we just won't use the will start file or the API.
I said technically you already have their consent for the other classes. So you can still participate in the pilot, just exclude the interns since that may be an issue for your institution.
Yeah, until you're ready, and then once you're ready, then we can keep moving forward. Like, for example, your emergency medicine, you send people here that like second and third year.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken.
They don't use
So we wouldn't be using the API, and most likely they might already be in our database because of previous rotations done here. So you can still participate in the pilot, it's just you won't be including your interns.
Sure. I was thinking we would use our interns because they're the ones that rotate out, and because we did want to try the will start file and the API, or the API for the pilot. But we can figure that out one way or the other. We'll have to have some internal discussions. Right,
and then maybe just save the will start files, and once we have them, once you guys have clearance, then we can use that.
Yeah, that makes sense to us.
Okay. Cool. And then the other issue was about the criminal attestation. I think that's along the lines with the institutional requirements, although if you're going to have a resident sign off, then that would create an additional step, and that was what we were trying to get away from, having the resident go in to each database. We're trying to keep it at the program administration level.
And another thing to think about as far as the criminal, the resident wouldn't sign off on that. It would really be HR to sign off on the criminal background check, because they would be the ones conducting that check. So that would be an additional step to have HR sign off. And again, that is institutional. It wouldn't be for everyone. Okay, moving along.
Any other comments on that? I think she said they were having issues with this.
No, we'll figure that part out.
Okay. All right. So with the timeline, and I want you guys to have an open mind here. I know we had said that this is going to be a lot of work, and time is quickly we're running out of time. So I want to go through the timeline here and get your thoughts and see how you feel about this. So we've already done the training. We've already gone through program structure and how to set things up in there. So we're basically at this point, May 12th is a couple days away. And so we should all be able to add our program coordinator and director's information into the participating programs, right? So this is a list of programs, and then you all know how to add that information in. You should also have the program structure in there, which includes the ACGME accreditation number if you're going to use API Connect. you need to have that in there by May 12th. Then you would also need to give the coordinator access to affiliated programs. And that's
This
really
is Zoe
easy.
again. I'm sorry. So we tried to give coordinator access just to test this out, and we're having a trouble with the with how that piece works. So if someone has tested this out, we would be appreciative of any guidance on that, because we put in a coordinator for one of the programs that sends us residents, and we gave them privilege levels that we thought would give them the access that they needed, but it didn't assign them to a program, to assign them to the department division of GME, but we couldn't figure out how to associate them with a specific program because they don't have a training record. And then trying to find a privilege level that restricts their access so they can only see those residents that they have onboarding checklists to complete for, or in rotator checklists to complete for, we couldn't quite figure that out. So if someone has done this already and can give us some guidance on that, that would be fantastic.
All right, did you give them additional access to the programs that they belong to under their security and privileges, under demographics? Or did you just give them access to GME?
We just started by giving them access to GME because that's where the checklists were built, but that's, I guess, what I'm asking is I wanted to know if someone has given them the privilege levels and the access and actually gone in as a coordinator from an external institution to test out what that looks like.
Yeah, so what you have to do, Zoe, is you need to go into, let me bring up the screen really quick so you can see. You're going to need to go into their demographics and add additional privileges for those departments that they belong to, okay? And then the reason I'm saying is because I have coordinators here that have multiple programs, and I ran into the same problem. So all we need to do is just have them get privileges to those departments. Let me bring up my screen. And there's no difference if it's an external institution or your own internal, because all of the programs are in your database. So this is the same process. Okay, so this is Camilla Mendel. She was originally just a part of the dermatology program, and I think I might have given her, okay, so you see how she has multiple programs under her privileges? That's where you're gonna need to give this other coordinator the additional privileges. So you're gonna go to the profile, you're gonna hit security and privileges, and then you would add new, because they're just gonna have the one that says GME. So you hit new.
Okay, really quick. I noticed that you have level 5 privileges across the board. So what all can she see? She can function like a program coordinator, an internal program coordinator?
She is an internal program coordinator. And then for your external people, you're just gonna give them on in personnel.
Right. What privilege?
Give them access to this. You need to give them 5 access.
Oh, you have to give them 5 access to personnel data? But then doesn't that mean that they can see that those people, like that they can see, oh, they'd only be able to see people in their own program, I suppose.
Yeah, just those people in their own program.
Okay. I just want to make sure that they're not able to get into my other residents' demographics, you know?
They shouldn't be able to. If you just give them that PD, just access to that like this specific program, and then just access to this. Okay? If you still have problems with that, just let me know, or you can call in the Innovation Zone.
Okay.
They'll help you walk you through it.
Anna, this is Susan.
Hi, Susan.
We were giving access to the coordinators. What kind of access should the program directors have? Because we're putting them in there.
If you're going to have them go into the checklist, they should be able to access it with just faculty privileges in that same module, just personal data.
Okay, so if we go in and give them faculty access, that will give them the correct level.
Yeah, because the reason you want to give your program coordinators a higher level is because they're going to be able to save and commit the data that is uploaded into that checklist.
Okay, but faculty doesn't have that level. Okay.
And I can look into this further and then I'll send out an email just to confirm. Okay. So then the next step would also be to use the API Connect or download the WillStart file. And you would need to get the WillStart file from the affiliated programs if that's the route that you're taking. Okay. So the next week, you guys all got the invite to teamwork. And then there's a spreadsheet in there that I wanted to see if we can add all the residents to that are going to be participating. So we decided that we're going to use October rotation, right? And then let me bring up the spreadsheet so you can see what it looks like in case you haven't had time to go in there yet. And let me know if we need to add more stuff in here. So basically first and last name, the name of the rotation, when it starts, when it ends, what the home institution is, that contact information from the home institution. And then we've got visiting institution and the contact information there. And then I also wanted to indicate if the checklist had been distributed in New Innovation. What do you guys think? Do we need more stuff in there? Do we need less? What do you guys think?
I think that's enough information.
Do you think that we should have this spreadsheet just to keep track of who's participating?
Participating, yes.
I love spreadsheets, so I'm a big,
Yeah.
I'm always huge
All right.
fan of.
I mean, it's a good way to organize and then share.
And I think I added a second tab on the actual teamwork one that I uploaded. Let me go in there and see if I can find it.
Never got the request for that.
You didn't? Okay, I'll have to resend it to you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the checklist just for organization reasons. Audit it, every couple of days.
What do you guys think? Carol, Susan, Zoe? Maybe I muted them.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I thought I muted myself.
Oh,
No, I was asking what you guys think about the adding people onto that spreadsheet. The people that are, the residents that are gonna be part of the pilot.
I guess it all depends on if it's going to just be kept initially in, with the internal work group.
Yeah, this is just for the pilot piece.
Okay.
And then once we're done with the pilot piece, just to keep track of, so that we're all aware who's going where and doing what and making sure that the checklists are on there. It's just like a tracker type spreadsheet. That's all. And then once we're done with the pilot, we'll just erase it. And this way we can also count how many residents participated, how many, rotations there were that were affected. I just think it's a good way to track the data.
Yeah, as long as it's just limited information, because a lot of that, the name of the residents are on public information on the Arizona Medical Board anyways. So I feel comfortable with.
So first and last name, rotation information, when it starts, ends, home institution, visiting institution, and that's it. Cool. So I was gonna ask for everyone that's participating to have your people in there by May 17th, which is next week. It's a week from today. Are you guys all good with that? So you would list the people that are starting in October for those rotations. Like, for example, whoever's going to Maricopa from PCH, right? You would put them, and this is for the GME people, like on the receiving end. Like on our end, we would put in anybody that's coming from Maricopa, Honor Health, Dignity. We would add those people in. So you're adding the people that you're receiving. You're not adding the people that you're sending. Does that make sense?
I think
Anna,
Uh-huh.
we don't know that information yet. I don't have block schedules from other
Oh, that's what I
hospitals.
had been asked. I had asked if we had been receiving the schedules yet. I didn't ask you guys directly. I had asked us, our internal.
I mean, I might have,
So maybe we could just ask those programs that are participating to send their schedules for October.
I don't know for
if they have them for October, then we can ask for that, but they may not have block schedules yet. I know that I don't. Nobody has forwarded to me.
Oh, okay. So maybe we need to change this then. Maybe we need to, like, the individual program needs to decide who's going where in October, instead of having the receiving and put it in, right? Like, for example, for the residency, I would go in there and put in who's going to Maricopa, Dignity. I'm kind of,
it's probably easier to do it that way, because if they haven't sent their grades as of now, they're probably not going to send it until later. When they start 17th deadline. But I mean, you know where your residents are going, you just don't know who's coming to you.
so
Do they have their schedules already ready?
like Susan, would emergency medicine and OB-GYN, would they have their schedules done at Maricopa?
Maybe, but I'll have to check with them and see if they've got schedules. But we're looking for the residents that are coming to us, right? You said not the residents that are going out.
Well, I think we're gonna switch. I think we're gonna ask each institution to put the residents that you're sending on the spreadsheet, and just the ones that are for your participating programs, like just emergency medicine and OB-GYN. Like you would add the names of those residents onto the spreadsheet.
Well, I know OB-GYN, I already have their 2017 block schedule, so I know for sure they have them. I haven't seen the emergency medicine one yet.
I think each participating site should put their own in. All right, because the block schedules are still vague. On block schedules, we don't get all of that information that we need to put on the spreadsheet anyway. So they would have that information readily available to them already. So if they put their own programs in as if it's going out, then I think that would be.
All right, so let's change it, and let's say that you're gonna add the people that you're sending in October for each of the participating programs from your institution. And then again, this is just for that 1 month for October. Has anybody heard from Dignity Health? Because they haven't been part of I mean, they were here for the initial discussion, but not much afterwards.
Are they at AMI this week?
I'm not sure, maybe. I don't think they were on for the last meeting. All right, so do you guys feel comfortable with that deadline, May 17th? It's only going to be for those programs that are participating. I'll take that as a yes. All right, so then once you put your information in there, then I don't know. So we're gonna have to get the block schedules from the programs that are participating in order so that we can schedule them. Because the next step would be to schedule the rotations and distribute the checklist, which is just a couple days afterwards. And again, I know this is a short timeline, but otherwise we're gonna run out of time and then we won't be able to accomplish our goals. So just scheduling those residents and distributing the checklist, right? On May 19th, we should have that done by then. And then after that, each institution will train their program coordinators. That's when we bring them in to the circle and train them on how to manage the checklist. And that would be that last week of, well, not the last week of May, but May 23rd to 25th. And what we were thinking is that we could do like another recording like this and just walk through the screen. And then you guys can use that video to train your coordinators if you wanted to use it. So that's May. And then we're going to give the coordinators the whole month of June because we know that there's orientation and graduation, so a bunch of stuff happening. So we wanted to give them the whole entire month of June to complete the checklist, and then we'd also run through any troubleshooting, any glitches, and that's it. That would be the end of our pilot. Would be at the end of June. So I guess the main thing is identifying the residents that are participating that we're going to choose from each of those programs that are starting in October, putting them on the spreadsheet, adding them to innovations, scheduling them, and distributing the checklist. Those are the main things that are going to happen in the next week or so. And then,
Okay, and we said these are residents that we are sending out to other institutions. Those are the names you're looking for.
right.
Okay.
Out to the participating.
Yeah, just to the programs that are participating. Like, so if you're sending somebody here to our
Right.
ED, it would be those residents. And just for you specifically, until you get clearance from your legal team, it would just be the people that you've sent already, like your second years or third years, if they're coming.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then honestly, like, we wouldn't have anybody coming from into emergency medicine because that's a different program. That's emergency, pediatric emergency medicine. So if you're sending somebody here for like just Gen Peds rotation, that's why I was like,
All of our. Say that one more time? I didn't follow that.
okay, so for example, Maricopa sends residents from their emergency medicine program here, but they send it to, oh, it wouldn't matter. They send it to the emergency department.
No,
It doesn't matter, right?
it doesn't matter, it's still P. We're gonna look at ours as all P, not specific specialties. So if they're coming here, then.
All right, so just to clarify, so anybody from your programs that are going to any of these institutions, that's where you're going to put onto the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think we should probably exclude dignity at this point. Since we haven't talked to them and we haven't confirmed that they're going to participate.
Okay, well, I can follow up with them and then we'll see they're still interested in participating. How about that? We'll give them till like the end of the day or tomorrow to confirm if they're going to participate in the pilot. I mean, it's not like they can't participate once we roll it out.
Right.
But just for the purpose of the pilot.
This is the purpose to troubleshoot and see what's going on. If they're not going to be consistent, then it's not going to help.
Do you guys have any other questions? Do you have any thoughts about the timeline? You think that's something that's doable?
I think trying to get stuff done by the end of June is pushing it because of all that goes on that month.
But keep in mind, it's going to be just a handful of residents.
Right.
And then most of the work is going to be on the, most of the task is going to be on the program coordinator, even though it will be more, maybe a little bit more a new step for them, but it's just going to be a couple residents per program because it's just the 1 month that we're working with.
Okay, so we're asking for names of our residents who are rotating out in the month of October.
Here, we're asking for you to put the information on the spreadsheet and put the information on each field in that spreadsheet for the residents rotating in October to any of the participating programs.
Okay,
And then you can email it to Anna, and then we'll have a master.
Or actually, if you have access to that teamwork, just upload it there with the name of your institution, like call it MIHS rotations. I think you're able to upload it. If not, then just send it to me. Only reason I try to not email stuff is because I'm in email jail constantly, and then sometimes I miss stuff. So if you can upload it, which I think you should be able to.
okay,
Do it that way. Okay.
okay.
Now, we're recording this session, so I'll send you out the link to view it.
Okay,
Afterwards.
good, thank you.
And then let me know if you guys have any other questions in the meantime.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Yep.
You too.